simply what you said, but we grasp what you said.
Yeah.
That is perfect. That is the sort of like the reduction, the distillation of this idea. And you've done it so well, and so I'm very proud of you as a graduate, because that's really what we have to be able to do, to communicate something that we know very well to other people who don't know that thing at all.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, please go ahead with your work.
Speaking of distillation, I received your email where you requested that I deliver a 3-minute speech about my PhD story. Now it's been almost 5 years, so I had to write it down because I didn't think I would be able to just improvise a coherent storyline otherwise, but I might just digress. I just wrote this on the bus, which broke down, by the way, so I almost missed my own graduation, but here we are. I did have some extra time to write my story, which begins with me growing up in the tropical savannas of the very dry Circum-Caribbean belt in northern Venezuela, where you are as unlikely to hear the word Australia as you are unlikely to hear the word cassowary or snowstorm for that matter. And yet, in just a few days, I'm scheduled to spend Chrissy Day having brekkie with my favorite family of bogans, probably throwing in some Captain Kim references, whilst at the same time sharing some Venezuelan food with them, which is nice, different, unusual. But anyway, my first focused memory of ever thinking about this country, as Alice's mum's boyfriend calls it, goes back to a very cold and wet summer where I spent most of my waking hours rummaging the shelves of a UK library where, under the auspices of the King and Queen of Spain, I was doing very exciting experiments about how the languages we speak shape the way we think. I did, however, stumble one day upon a bright blue book with Aboriginal artwork titled Dying Words, Endangered Languages and What They Have to Tell Us, by Nick Evans, who was to become my chief supervisor for my PhD. Yeah, Nick, thank you. I've learned so much from you. For example, your forceful appraisal of the genius of linguistic diversity, I think, is very beautifully encapsulated in one phrase from your book on page 76, namely, there are many more things in the languages of this earth than have yet been dreamed of in our philosophy, which has become sort of a mantra, a personal mantra for me. Through the vicissitudes of fate, I have ended up doing fieldwork not in the lowlands of southern New Guinea, as was originally planned, but rather in the hilly mountain ranges of Yunnan province in China. And this documenting an indigenous Tibeto-Burman language spoken by minoritized farming herding communities has by far been the single most rewarding experience and intellectually stimulating experiences and adventures of my life. 31 years of age, for whatever that counts for. I could, given more time, float you with various anecdotes about, for example, the intoxicating sounds of shamanistic incantation and chants, or my initiation into rain-invoking circular dances that I learned from this community, or the most delicious vegetables that you could possibly conceive of, delivered to me as a celebration for the death of the elder, which is the occasion for joy in this community. Or of being assailed with official marriage proposals by the village council leaders and the government officials, or coming under the suspecting eyes of both PRC and USA government officials at the same time at the Singaporean National Holiday Gala. But it is really the Polar language which is most deserving of attention, not least because of everything Polar speakers have taught me about the role of attention in our mental and social lives. As a matter of fact, I have just finished this morning the first draft of a substantial research paper on how first-hand video recorded data So you can picture me running around the village, holding a camera, also handing out cameras to some of my collaborators in the village to get as many things filmed as possible. And so I've been writing about how data on the grammar of attention, so those tiny words that I was talking about, in everyday conversations amongst Pola speakers in this rural community. By the way, my field site is a 300-strong village in the middle of beautiful nowhere, where there's only layers and layers of beautiful mountain ranges in every direction. And I'm trying to show how much these video recorded conversations advance our understanding of human language in general, and very particularly of what Nick Evans, among others, calls social cognition. To give you the hint of a flavor of it, this language Pola has the most, what I believe to be the most elegant and streamlined mechanism to enforce joint attention. That is to say, to make absolutely sure that everyone is looking in the right direction whenever this is necessary, by using tiny little one-syllable words like yi, which means something like, quickly look at me right here. Or tu, which means quickly look right there near you. Or gu, quickly look down here. Which are nimbly inserted as soon as someone loses attentional engagement. A word that wasn't particularly meaningful to me before I met Nick Evans, and which now defines my whole research agenda. I don't want to abuse your attention though, so let me just finish by expressing my gratitude to Nick Evans, my secondary supervisor. So we have Beth here. Hi Beth, thanks for coming. There's also David Bradley of La Trobe and Wyan Acker, who's not here, but I'm sure many of you know Wyan. I would also like to thank the College of Asia and the Pacific and CHL, and very particularly Etsuko Masan, who's also not here. But I would have gotten nowhere without her incredible efforts to make sure that everything happens in the College of History, Language and Culture. Also the Australian National University, the Australian Research Council Centre of Excellence for the Dynamics of Language, which is just coming to an end now after, how many years, 11? 8, just 8? 8 years of wonderful research and cross-pollination and interdisciplinary collaborations. Thank you, Simon, for coming. Simon here is also from Venezuela. He's also Dr. Gonzalez, like I've just become. Thanks for coming. Who else is there to thank? The Australian Government Research Training Program for trusting in me, all of you, and emboldening me to pursue this challenging yet life-defining project that has now, after nearly 5 years, come to an end. Thank you very much.
I could be, even without those little words of I could be captivated by your speaking for a long, long time. For many, you could go for 6 times as long and I could still be captivated.
That's very kind, thank you.